If you're a subcontractor and you've ever found yourself in this situation where you got multiple bids that you're working on for multiple different GCs and they're using multiple different types of portals and you're losing track of, all right, when was this one due? And you're bouncing back and forth between different portals, different tabs. Every portal is different. And you're trying to keep track of everything to make sure you get your bids out on time. But what's the most frustrating thing about all this is it's not so much you don't have the organization. It's that you're not set up for success so that you know exactly what bids you need to focus on. And when you're dealing with confusion and, that feeling with that pit inside your stomach, like, man, is there a bid I'm forgetting? Man, is there something I'm missing? Then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up the bid list correctly within Smartsheet so that you will not fail. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to take all these different portals, all these different platforms, all these different GCs use for all their different bids, and how to put it in a one-stop shop on one sheet, set up with automations so that not only do you have organization, but that you're set up so that you will not fail. Hey guys, welcome to Workflow My Workload. I am your guide, Justin Rezio, and today we're going to be looking at how to set up your intake sheet for your construction company correctly. And today, as I mentioned before, we're going to cover three things. The first of which is setting up your bid list or your intake sheet correctly. The second thing is how to house all of those different GC portals and different platforms, different websites that want you to go to, how to house all of that in a one-stop shop. And then thirdly, how to set up automation so that nothing is missed, everybody is notified that needs to be notified, and everything is done in a timely order with dates. Again, everything being automated for you. All right, let's dive into the sheet. All right, so here I have a project intake sheet already built out for us. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how I did it. And after I go through this, I'm then going to go into how to house all your GC portals in one-stop shop so they're easily accessible and they're very organized. And then the third thing we're going to go over today is automations. But first and foremost, how to set up your project intake sheet or your bid sheet correctly. And intake sheets are used in multiple different industries, but they all serve one common goal, and that is that the managers or the project managers, the PMs, are receiving all the most important information that's most accessible to them. It's organized in a way so they can make decisions on the fly. And so for this sheet, project intake sheet, we're going to start on the left and work our way to the right. And the first of which is the project number. As we all know, you got to have a project number. And a lot of times people will manually just put in numbers, and you don't need to do that any longer. Smartsheet has a way where it will automatically generate a number for you. Here, I'll show you. I'll go ahead and put in a fake project. And when I do this, you're going to see on the left right here that a number will auto-generate for me. So I click out of it and I click save. Watch this cell right here. Click save. It automatically generated a number for me. If I do another fake project 2, I click save. It keeps generating it for me automatically so that there's no human error and I'm not wasting time. And the way I did that is you can do this with any column, is you just double click into the column header, open up, and the column type is auto number. So here's the list. We'll be going through most of these today, but I chose auto number. When you choose auto number, the first thing is going to ask is the prefix. And you don't have to put anything in here, but it gives you this option to put something in here for prefix. And I just put in the year. And so this is going to be the objects that are at the beginning of your auto-generated number. And then if you want a suffix, I decide not to have one. You can also put a suffix in there if you want. Numerical place, how many numbers it's going to start with. And I start with the number 5. But the numerical place has 5 numbers here. And your starting place can be, maybe you're in the middle of halfway through the year and you already have 500 projects already done. The starting number will be 501. if you're starting this process. But I went and started at 3 just to kind of give you a random thing, and this is how it's going to show. And I've already done that, which I've since deleted, but it will keep auto-generating 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, so on and so forth, based on the properties that I set here. And again, you just double click, auto number, just click into it, and you can choose it. And just know that you can only have one auto number column for a sheet. You can't have multiple auto numbers at once. All right, the next thing that we're going to have is a status. And a status, I highly recommend that your status is a drop-down option. Drop-down. Do not have this be a manual text. Reason being, if you're trying to run reports later on down the road, it's not going to know if proposal pending versus pending are one and the same thing. So just have it be a drop down like we have right here, where they just pick and choose. So you just go in here, we just pick and choose, and it also saves you time, so you don't have to type it out. And that way everyone is on the same page to know what it means and what it's for. All right, the next thing is project name. That's pretty self-explanatory. Project name is your project name. I usually have that as a manual text. And then the GC, I actually recommend having a list of all the GCs that you're doing work for that year. And if you're adding a new GC, you just double click in the column header like I did. I'll do it again for you. Go in here and do client D, or whatever name you want it to be. But obviously I'm doing this for the example today. Click OK. And as you can see here, that when I choose a client, so client A for example, watch this cell, client email, and this cell right here. If I choose client A, then their email and their phone number automatically come in for me. I don't have to look it up, look back at their email, try to copy and paste the email correctly, put it in their phone. You don't have to waste any of that garbage. And the way I did this is I have 2-column formulas. Hey guys, real quick, if you're finding this helpful so far, I've actually created a free user guide. It's a PDF that'll be sent right to your inbox that gives you the top 32 functions that are the most successful within Smartsheet. I tell you what they are, I show you a brief description how to use them, and what instances to use them for. Again, it's a free PDF guide, it's one sheet, it's all yours. I created it just for you. Just click in the bio below and it's yours. All right, let's get back to this video. So let's go ahead and open up this column formula. And it's an index collect formula. Looks scary, but I promise you it's not. This is a very easy formula to put in. And if you don't know how to use an index collect formula, I will have a link in the bio below. And it's a whole quick video on how to set up an index collect formula correctly within your Smartsheet. But just know I set up an index collect formula here where it's looking at a client list, which is this list right here. Got the emails, got the phone number, and based on the client that I choose, client A, B, or C, based on the client that I choose, it will pull in that respected client's email and phone number. So client A is this email, phone number 1111. Client A, here's their email, 1111. So when I choose client A, right here, it automatically pulls in this information for me. So it's an equal index collect formula. It's looking at the email list from this list right here. Second argument is the client name, so this column right here, and third, the actual client that is chosen. And comment 1, and it pulls it in. Again, if you want to know how to build this out correctly, just watch the training video down below I have in the bio for index collect. Very quick, simple, easy, to the point, and I promise you it'll be a game changer for you if you are not using this formula. Another thing that I did is if you right click into the cell, notice that it is a column formula. So if I go here and I click convert to it's edit column formula, I've do cell formula just to revert back. By right clicking here, convert to column formula. Now this turned gray. That means anytime I choose something, it will automatically pull it in. So if I choose client B, automatically pulled in the information. If I choose client A, automatically pulled in information. So we'll convert just to column formula. Look at that, automatically pulled in the phone number. All right, let's go ahead and delete this. So column formula means that formula automatically covers the entire column, so we don't have to keep adding it. All right, so now we'll move on. So obviously you can do way more than just email and phone number. You can do the company name, you can do second contact information, third contact information, that formula, again, comes in very handy when you're dealing with client information, almost like a CRM. All right, next thing is the bid due date. Pretty self-explanatory. Highly recommend make sure the column type is a date. So it comes in as a date automatically. You can click on the little calendar icon here and choose whatever date you want to use. Bid due time, just a manual entry in this one. Again, for all manual entries, you're going to be choosing text number. It's the first one on the list here. And all right, so we're going to get back to the portal link here. That's for the second thing we'll be covering today. And last but not least, we're going to have our PMs. So like, for instance, your project managers. If you're going to click in here, you can pick and choose who you want your project manager to be. If you have a project coordinator, who you want your project coordinator to be. And then whoever submitted this information. You have that list. And what I highly recommend to make it easier on your PMs and your project coordinators and whoever is submitting this information, you can definitely do it in this grid format. You can definitely do it that way. Save it here. But you can actually create a form, which I've already done for you, that will automatically receive this information and place it right where it belongs. So again, you can have someone put in this information manually, cell by cell, or you can do it by a form. And the way you do that is you go over here to forms. So let's click on forms. Let's click manage forms because I've already created one for you. And we'll click on this form right here called intake form. Now this is the form I created. Don't worry, I'll get back to the screen. But I'm going to open it up and show you what the end user is seeing. So I can put in my name, say my name. That is Justin. And the project name, we'll call it Dutch Bros Warehouse. The client, we'll say it's client, we'll say client B. Bid due date, let's say it's due on the 6th of September. Bid due time, 8 a.m. Project location, I could say 123 Candy Cane Lane, Portland, Oregon 97233. The project manager, it's going to be Billy, and the PC, let's say it's going to be Susan. And then right here, I can actually upload site photos, any spec sheets, addendums, contracts, you name it. I can download right here. I can just click on this. It's going to open up a file, whatever is in your computer. You can choose whatever. I'll choose, let's choose this one. We'll upload it. You can also drag your files in here. Again, it can be PDFs, Word docs, Excel sheets, you name it. You can just drag and drop them right in here. And then you click submit. So we'll go back to our sheet here. And right, hey Justin, I don't see that submission that came through. Well, helping you out here, just click refresh your browser, refresh your tab, and look at that, automatically came in. We have some extra spaces here we don't need. That's because I was playing with data inside this earlier, so I wanted to save it. So we'll delete it. And here's our submission right here. As you notice here, it automatically assigned the next numerical value for me for my auto-generated ID. And it automatically came in as pending a proposal. I'll show you how to do that in a second. But here's my project name, the client I chose. I didn't have to choose his email or the phone number. Automatically came in. The due date, the time, the location, and everyone that's assigned to this project. And this paperclip right here is what I chose to drag and drop in the form. And here it is right here. This video is for you. Okay. Now then, okay, how did pending proposal automatically come in? Well, to answer that, let's actually go into the form. I'm going to save it. Let's go into forms, go to manage forms, and let's open it up. The reason I did that is I have status right here, the column status, set as hidden, and the default value. I chose pending proposal. So that way, anytime someone submits this form, automatically the status is sent to pending proposal. And the next thing I have here is submitter name. Again, these are just the columns. And if you want more detail on how to set up forms within your Smartsheet, I have a video on that. You can click on the link below or in the card up above, and it will take you directly on how to set up forms correctly within Smartsheet. And I go through all the tips and tricks, all the cheat codes, so to speak, that most people don't realize that you can do with forms. Very, very handy. All right, but this is how I created the form. Again, you can drag and drop where you want those columns to live. And for instance, you can have submitter name right here, and it's actually going to come in. That's the column name, submitter name, project name. That's the name of the project, and pretty self-explanatory. All right, so we'll go ahead and save this, save our changes. Back to our project intake sheet. All right, so the second thing I was going to show you guys in this video is how to take the GC portals and organize them. And what I found most useful for construction companies, and they like this as well, is in all the construction companies that I've not only worked for, but I've worked in, we got to a point where we needed to know how to house the GC portal links and the information about that. And so what I learned was just putting the hyperlink, the URL link, into the cell for that GC. And so, for instance, I have a link in here. It's going to take us to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan. And so if you just go into, let's say this is like let's go to Procore. How about that? We'll do that. We'll go to Procore. Come on, there we go. All right, so let's say we're in our Procore portal for a GC, I think it was GCA. What we're going to do is we're going to just copy the link, and we're going to go in here and we're going to paste it. And then I can have some notes here, login info. I can have spec info, blah blah blah. That way anybody who has login information for this specific client, when they come in, I'm going to save it, they can go in here and click on it. When they click on it, it takes them immediately to that GC's portal. And you can keep them all organized, all nice and neat. You can even shrink this because they don't need to see the whole link. It's just to know that the hyperlink is there. If you really have time to get fancy, you can actually right-click. Click in here. You can right-click, click on hyperlink, actually give it a name. So here's the link. You don't want to mess with that. Go under display text, Procore. There it is. Click on that. It will still take them to that Procore portal. All right. And then I highly recommend, as I have here, just put in some notes, a note section to the right. If you don't know how to do that, you just click on any column. You right-click into that column. You click insert column left or right. Let's insert it right. And we'll say portal notes. Again, these things I'm showing you guys are things that over the years, working inside construction companies, I did carpentry, concrete, plumbing, working in the offices, and also working for construction companies. These are tips and tricks that I found to save you buttloads of time. All right, so you can put your notes in there however you want. All right, so it's pretty self-explanatory. You have your links to your portals right here. Everything is organized, one nice stop shop. You see when the bid is due, the bid due date. The last thing we're going to set up is automations. So let's say I'm the project manager, and I'm like, hey, my project coordinator, Susan, I want Susan to get an alert if pending proposal is still pending and it hasn't been submitted yet. I want to send an automation to Susan saying, hey, what's up? The proposal hasn't been set yet, and it's 24 hours before the bid due date. So what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and click on automation right here. It's right next to the forms. Click on automation. We're going to create one from scratch, so the middle one. And the first thing it's going to do is going to want to ask you a name for this automation, a name for this workflow. So let's say reminder bid is due. Again, I'm keeping this super simple. You can add as many automations and workflows as you'd like. All right, so for this workflow / automation, the first thing it's going to ask you next is the trigger. What triggers this? And so we can do when a date is reached in the date field. We'll do 1 day before. 1 day before the bid date is due. And so these are, it would show up all the columns that are date columns, but I only have one, and it's the bid due date. So here it is. So bid due date, that's chosen. And maybe I want the automation to come in at, we'll do 7 a.m. And this is going to be US specific time because that's the time zone that I live in. And come in at 7 a.m. bid, do that. And then a condition, we'll do a condition. So a condition is like think of it like a filter. And I don't want Susan to always get a notification, hey, bid is due, every single time it's 1 day before the due date, because maybe she's already submitted it for me. Maybe it's already complete. Maybe she did it like 3 days in advance. Well, I don't want her to still get that notification. So let's filter it. So we're going to filter it where if the status is still pending proposal and proposal created. So in other words, if it's still stuck in pending proposal or proposal created, but it hasn't been submitted yet, then I want Susan to receive that notification. So we'll do pending proposal and proposal created. If it's from one of these two buckets hasn't been submitted yet, then she needs to be notified. So last but not least, we'll click on the notification, and it's going to be the first one here, alert someone. And I don't want it to alert myself. By default, it puts that there. Let's change this. Let's do send to contacts in cell. So I'm going to click here. And then I'm going to choose this drop down, and I'm going to choose the project coordinator. So whoever the project coordinator is for this row, I want them to receive that notification. And I'm going to change the permission setting here. It always does this the first time around. I always just choose unrestricted, click OK. So that is that. You can even have customize the message that they're going to receive. Now just know that the person will receive a Smartsheet notification and an email to their email address. Very, very handy. All right, so first of which, we'll go ahead and do the Smartsheet notification, and we'll say bid is due for project. Do double brackets here. Now if you put in double brackets and you type in the exact name of the column, then it will automatically put in that column's information for you. And if that sounds confusing, it will make sense here in just a second. All right. And let's leave it for all information there. And then we'll do the same one for the email as well. Okay, there we go. Okay, so again, when date is reached, 1 day before the bid due date at 7 a.m., I want Susan, who's the PC, to, if the status is not at pending proposal or proposal created, I want her to receive a notification that says, hey, bid is due. In the body of the text, you can put, whatever you want. Obviously, I wouldn't put that, but do it for training. All right, click Save. And then we'll go ahead and go back to our sheet. And now it's in there. All right. And so I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. So we have Susan is the one that's going to receive it. We can change it to whoever we want. We can change it to myself, Jerry, whoever. So when this bid date is, the bid due date is 9/6. So once 9/5 hits at 7 a.m., Susan, whoever I choose right here in this column, is going to receive that notification. And that automation that is set up going forward is for the entire sheet. So as more rows fill up with more projects coming in, whoever the project coordinator is, they will receive a notification 1 day before the bid due date if the status is either pending proposal or proposal created. They will receive that notification. All right. I know I threw a lot at you guys today, but for those of you who are subcontractors or general contractors and you're using intake sheets, I hope this was helpful. I hope it saved you some time and maybe some frustration that you guys deal with in the past. Again, these are things I learned over the years, and it saved us a lot of time. And so that way you guys don't have to make the same mistake twice that we made. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please click on the videos that and the links down below that I mentioned earlier that will go into more detail on some of the stuff we covered today. But as always, everyone take care and God bless.